Hey there, Libra. Welcome to your part 2 for your reading for the week of January 10th. If you haven't watched part 1 yet, we cover everything that you see here in part 1, but this is going to be part 2. I'm just going to pull these anchor cards, and by the way, there is a link down below in the description of part 1, but you have this in your first row. Let's just jump right into it. You have this success card. So clearly there's success coming in for you. We kind of talked about this in your first row, that you're clearly, I think, with this 10 of Pentacles, even though it's not in the area of your your thoughts, your mind, it doesn't really matter. I think that your mind is on success, but not quick success. But this is a good thing as well. I think people think they want to become successful overnight, and you usually you do. Again, if you read anything about like people who are super successful, it's like one day they weren't a millionaire, the next day they are a millionaire. So it's like everybody is technically that it becomes a millionaire is an overnight millionaire. One day you have it, one day you don't have it, the next day you do, literally, right? So that's how it happens. But there are years and years and years of work before that point. This success is not going to take you years, by the way, Libra. Again, you've been putting in a lot of work according to this reading, so there's success coming in for you. And I feel like you need to realize that this is like more long-term success. It's like you always get tons of comments of people who want to win the lottery and all this other stuff, and that's fine. But really, do you want to win the lottery? Probably not. It's much better to earn it, and usually it lasts longer, right? If there's the curse of the lottery. I don't really think it's a curse. I think it's just because money pours in and you just spend it, right? And again, is there anything wrong with that? Probably not. I mean, I don't know. It sounds fun to me, so it might be a fun experience. But, if you want something long-term that's going to last, I think that's what this reading is talking about. So let's start clarifying here, Libra, and let's see. With the 10 of Pentacles, you have the 10 of Cups. Love it. I love the 10 of Pentacles and the 10 of Cups together because, to me, both cards together, it's like fortune after difficulty, good things coming in after a difficult period of time. The 10 of Cups is a card of your community and the people in your life, and you have a lot of stuff here, especially the Queen of Cups, in the area of your closest relationships. It looks to me like you are getting a lot of support from family, friends, people in your life. I would say that also some of you, again, could be receiving an inheritance. If you had someone pass away, this could be like an inheritance or something like that. With the Empress, you have the 10 of Pentacles. Damn. Libra, this is amazing. I love this. I'm getting the word book. By the way, in the Lenormand card reading system, the 10 of Pentacles is the 10 of Diamonds, and it's called the book. But it is popping into my head. The book represents hidden or secret information in the Lenormand. It says that it's not really hidden. It just says that you have to go looking for information. It says information exists that could make you very successful, but you're going to have to go and find it. And so that's popping into my head with this 10 of Pentacles. Again, this right here is your crossing energy. It's actually pretty good energy to have as a crossing energy, 10 of Pentacles and the Empress. But I do feel for some of you, like if you're feeling stuck, if you're not sure what to do, I think that researching or looking for answers would be a good idea with that card. With the 5 of Swords, you have the Knight of Pentacles. It's worth the risk. Remember, in the first reading, we were talking about the 5 of Swords being a risk that you're thinking about taking, probably to put yourself out there to like start a business or to get into a relationship, whatever it is that you're doing. The Knight of Pentacles says it's time. This is a card of being too cautious. He's not planting these fields right here. He could easily grow things if he wanted to, but he's being too cautious. So it is time for you to take action. Again, you're doing something that's never been done before. In your first reading, we talked about you entering into this third place. I probably should do like a separate video on my thoughts on the third place, but at the same time, I don't think people should listen to me, and because my thoughts are crazy. But what I would say is it's interesting. There are a couple of signs that I really think are being encouraged into this third place. You Pisces, you in Pisces particularly, and it's interesting that you have the High Priestess and the Moon here, both Pisces cards. It's kind of like the energy is connected. So I feel like for a lot of you, you're being pushed in this third place. A third place living is, again, living life according to you. And this means that you could be accepting a mixture of conflicting ideas. And I think that it's hard for people to wrap their head around it, but it's like you could believe in mysticism, like I said in your first reading. You could believe in all this spiritual stuff, but you could also believe in very grounded, real world things as well. But it's like you're mixing the two things together. The way I always describe this is medicine. And again, I'm not a doctor, so do not take this as medical advice. But in the future, I think that we're going to be seeing medicine being more like integrated medicine. Maybe it's going to be a mixture of like homeopathy and regular medicine, right? So it's probably going to be a combination of these things. It's not going to be one or the other, if that makes sense. You're like, and again, I'm not saying you're doing this with medicine. Again, I'm not a doctor, right? Can't stress that enough. But what I would say is that I feel like there are other things in your life where you could be mixing two, kind of conflicting belief systems together and making them work together. That's what this is. Next, you have this keeping it in check card. It says, pay attention to what's going on around you. You might be moving into something too quickly, which we talked about with that Knight of Swords, or missing some important details. So definitely no rushing. It's interesting you get this. Like I said, I don't think you're rushing. I think you have rushed in the past with the Knight of Swords. That's what I said in the first reading, and it seems to me like you are not rushing this time. But again, remember with the Ace of Cups as well, we were talking about like seeing things, like seeing through something. It's like, things are presented to us in a magical way. It's like when you think about sales, right? It's like when someone is trying to sell us something, they make it look as good as possible. I think that's what you're seeing through, and I'm not talking about buying something, although it could be. You could be making a purchase here with the Knight of Swords. I always say get a second opinion with the Knight of Swords. But, I think, people always, what do? When we go on a date, they present their best self first. And it's not until 6 months later that we find out that they, clip their toenails in bed and they just leave them there. It's not until 6 months later that we find out that they have a raging hot Cheeto addiction. We don't figure that out till later, right? So I feel like you are, and this is not a bad thing, right? We're not perfect animals, of course. But what I would say is I feel like you're kind of saying, okay, I understand that this person or this situation is presenting their best foot forward right now. And I don't think you're being like snarky about it or anything, but I think you're just saying, but what's beyond that? Let's go a little bit deeper. And that's kind of like the energy I get here. So I hope that makes sense. It's like I just think you're kind of no longer wearing those rose-colored glasses. That's probably a way easier way to say it. With the Knight of Swords, you have the, no you don't, you have the Six of Pentacles. I just threw it. But the Six of Pentacles is a card of planting seeds and bringing balance into your life. And again, isn't it funny that he's ignoring one person over here and he's giving to the other? And this is coming up on that Knight of Swords. Exactly what I was saying. It's like but I feel like you're no longer ignoring the aspects that make something whole, like as in a person or anything else. With the Ace of Cups, you have the Eight of Pentacles. Yeah, doing the work. Eight of Pentacles is a card of mastery and really putting the work in. Eight of Pentacles is a card of understanding. The word understanding, it actually is a Mason. It comes from the Masons, the Freemasons, the cult, the secret society, whatever you want to call it. But it's like when the Masons were building a building, they would go under the building and they would look up to make sure that the building was stable. It's like they were looking at the structure from underneath. And that's where the word understanding, they were standing under the building so they could see that everything on top of them was stable. And that's what understanding means. It kind of represents going very deep, looking at the skeleton, the structure of something. Exactly what we talked about in the first reading. And the Eight of Pentacles is a card of understanding. So there you go. With the Six of Wands in your near future, you have the Four of Pentacles. More stability. Four of Pentacles can be a card of like the miser holding on too tightly onto something, but it is a card of stability. It is a card of, kind of structure and having a solid foundation. So it's like you're moving in the right direction here. Next in the last row, sorry, I just messed everything up. You have the Day and Night card. Look at this. Like all this symbolism in your reading of kind of mixing two things together. Like I said with the High Priestess, she would be the dark and the light. And that's what we were talking about. You even have the moon here in this row. So I kind of feel like you're noticing the differences. I am getting more of a spring energy here as well. So that to me could say that like the sun is coming up in your life, or you're entering more into like a warm period of time, if that makes sense. With the High Priestess, you have the Chariot. The Chariot is a card of success and a victory. And sorry about that. I don't know what is going on. I keep turning my notifications off, but they keep going off anyway. So I apologize, but, I don't know. That might be confirmation for the reading. There you go. But anyway, the Chariot is a card of a victory, and it is also a card of making a decision. And also, we also see, if I can get the right button, we can see that these two Sphinxes, they are aiming in two different directions here on the card. So they kind of represent the fact that the Chariot driver, he's driving away from this castle that is behind him, this city, really, and the universe is guiding him. But it's kind of like a mystery. He kind of has a choice on what direction to go in, but these are his two choices right here, the two Sphinxes. So it's kind of like he's being guided by the universe towards success, and it might look like he kind of has two paths, but really it's like the same path. With the Queen of Cups, you have the Four of Swords. A lot of healing going on. Some of you could be having a healing with your mother. Just like I said in the first reading, I was getting something about your mother, or I was getting something important about your mother having to do with your mother. So some of you could be having a healing with your mother. And with the Moon, you have the Seven of Swords. I would just, I would keep your head on straight. I would pay attention. This is coming up in the area of your future feelings. So yes, Seven of Swords can be lying, cheating, stealing, but this has to do with you. It doesn't have to do with other people, this part of the reading. And so the Seven of Swords can say to handle things with care. He is handling those swords by their tips. So it's like he has to be very, very careful in what he's doing so he doesn't get cut. I do feel that for a lot of you, you could be just, it kind of looks very active to me. There's no way you would have like 3 tens like this in a reading and it wouldn't be, especially 10 of Pentacles twice, 10 of Cups as well. Very active energy. Chariot, which is like taking control and, taking action. And what I would say here is that the Seven of Swords is saying just pay attention. There is a lot of pay attention energy here, especially with the Knight of Swords. You have that keep it in check card as well. So I think things are going very, very well for you, or will be. Not just this week, but into the future. And that Seven of Swords is just saying, make sure to slow things down every once in a while. Make sure your feet are in the right place, so to speak. Make sure you're paying attention to the things that are going on around you. I don't think this is like a bad thing. I think it's just a warning to make sure that you don't get off your path or something like that. And with your outcome with the Magician, you have the King of Cups. Could be love coming in for some of you. Definitely could be a water sign. You have a lot of water here. Could be any sign. General reading. So I do feel like there could be love. But really, I would say this is more about your emotions. The Magician, he uses his words to attract whatever he wants in his life, to use magic. But the King of Cups would use his emotions as well. And really, if you follow the law of attraction, if we feel something on a very deep level, we attract it into our life a lot faster. So the King of Cups is like the master of feeling something before he has it. And because of that, he's able to attract things very quickly into his life. So, that's what I would do with that King of Cups. I would focus on your feelings and use your feelings. I'm going to pull one more card. Let's just use this one right here. Yeah, this card says setting up parameters. It says access your relationships and determine how they are aligned with your goals. Setting boundaries requires an honest evaluation of your present relationships. There's a major focus on your relationships because the 2 tens that we have here, 10 of Pentacles and 10 of Cups, both have to do with relationships in your real life. So I would set boundaries in your relationships. This is pretty much true for everyone. We're like at the end of Pluto and Capricorn. That's all I'll say about that. To me, Pluto and Capricorn definitely has to do with our relationships. Also Uranus and Taurus as well. But this is an amazing reading. And like I said, maybe you're having to set these boundaries because, like I said, you're entering into this 3rd place. I don't think people are going to understand the 3rd place for a while. But, that's fine. Again, this is not a criticism or a judgment on those people. You're just not there yet. And you are, right? And so I feel like maybe they're not going to understand it. And maybe you just have to, just keep living your life. And, this fish right here kind of looks like a clown. I think it is a clown triggerfish, by the way. Fish nerd, right? And it kind of looks like a clown. So it's like, yeah, people might see you as a clown, but who cares, right? It kind of reminds me, I always tell a story of the Spanx founder, Sarah Blakely. She has this thing where she tries to embarrass herself every single day. And it's like, why? Because it's like when you do that, then no one can embarrass you because you're already embarrassing yourself. It's like you take the power away from them, right? So that's what I see you. I think that would be important for you as well. I'm not saying you have to embarrass yourself, but just don't worry about what people think, right? But pretty good reading. So thank you for being here. Really appreciate it, Libra. This is a good reading. I mean, those 10s, amazing. Chariot, really good. So thank you for being here. Really appreciate it. And definitely enjoy your week.